Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but the OnX app is it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, a moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my OnX. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with OnX, if you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onxmaps.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail.
Team member Mark Sheeran here. Listen, everybody's been asking why we switched to the Skinner peep sights this year. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, the owner of Skinner Sights, Andy Larson, was willing to collaborate with us to build the best ghost sight for tracking on the market. And he took our input and really put it into practice. And the aperture, the ghost ring itself is thinner, so it allows more light in. It's all steel construction. It's got a lifetime warranty, and it's also a very elegant sight. So there are some other features as well. The ghost sight itself is dovetailed into the body of the sight, which makes it really, really sturdy, and it can't fall out of adjustment. And between that and the fact that it's all steel, and the peep sight is optimized for the tracker and the still hunter, it's an amazing sight. So you can go on to bigwoodsbucks.com and get your BWB Tracker Series peep sight today. All right, good luck on the hunt.
This is the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood, sitting over here in beautiful Rangeley, Maine today at Bad Lee's new house. Got the beautiful view, the sky's clearing, looking down on the lake. We had to come here so Bad Lee would be on, and here he is. What are you doing, Lee?
I'm adjusting my shit that I should have been doing 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And Joe's here.
Yellow.
And we're going to have a guest call in, Andy Skinner from Skinner Sights again. He's got some kind of announcement, Joe, he wants to make, and it's going to be heard the first time on this podcast. So we're fortunate for that. It's
not sure what it is, but
not sure what it is.
He texted me and said he's ready. So
what's that?
He just texted me, so I'm going to give him a call here. And
okay.
And
well, that's timely. We'll
get him on the line.
We'll see what he's got to say. I bet it's something to do with guns and Skinner sights.
Hello, it's Andy.
Hello, Andy. This is Joe. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Joe. Does this sound okay? I'm on a truck Bluetooth, but I can switch over to just the phone.
Nope, you sound good, and you're on the air.
Awesome.
Andy, this is Hal. We got you all queued up here for your big announcement.
Hey, Al. Well, we got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm sorry I haven't been able to kill a buck yet with my skin of sight on my 7600, but been at it. We just had some poor conditions this year for snow,
It was crunchy out here. How was your guys?
About the same. We had some snow periodically through November, but it was mostly in the high country, and it would come and go. And what happens is it ends up crowding people, into those small areas. So I don't bother going when it's like that. But anyway, so I didn't get much rifle hunting in. I went the last couple days. We had some snow, and then muzzleloader season. I went that week, and a little discouraging. So we got a muzzleloader season coming up. Well, it's open now in the Berkshire Mountains of Mass, and it looks like they're going to get some snow on Saturday there. So hopefully we can
Why do we keep talking about where we're hunting?
smoke pole in one.
Well, I got a wicked nasty email the other day.
Well, you're the one that started it.
No, it's like, listen, guys. You guys talk about where you hunt, and then everybody's there, and it's ruined for everybody, so cut the shit.
Okay.
Lee Shan's all but told everybody exactly where Junior shot his buck, and I'm sitting across the table last week cringing, like, stop talking.
Did he? I thought he was.
I got it. I can show you a text message that the guy somewhat familiar with that area picked out exactly where he shot that, just on what Lee said.
Yeah, but if
That's
you
someone that knew it.
Yeah, if you knew it, you knew it. If you didn't know it, you wouldn't know it.
Anyways.
See what we're up against here, Andy?
It's a tough crowd.
Yeah.
It is getting harder. We noticed that with the last year, people got tired of being cooped up inside. Seems like everybody discovered great outdoors. They're deciding that if they may need to learn how to secure their own food, and it was that way here in Montana. Every trailhead had half a dozen rigs parked at it or more.
Oh.
And it's just, not where we were hunting. We were hunting in an area that didn't get that traffic this year. Access was more limited to that than it's been ever before.
Where was that, Andy?
Yeah. Where was that?
I'll send you a picture, and then you pull up the GPS digital marking in the file, I guess. Remember to turn that off on your phone.
Turn what off?
Well, when you take your pictures and it has the GPS coordinates embedded in the digital file of the photo.
Oh, it does?
It can.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Now you'll be worrying. Something else to worry about.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were hunting near our Skinner Sites cabin, our lodge, across the lake. As a matter of fact, where I killed my buck this year, where he was standing when I shot him, you could look down across the lake and see our cabin. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And our snow was crunchy. It started out with first we didn't get any, like you guys. And then when it did come down, it was really warm and it crystallized. And Sheila and I were hunting a couple days before I shot the buck. We were hunting him, and it was just like walking on popcorn. It was terrible.
Yeah. Yep, we've had our fair share of that.
But, we had a great time. And one of the things that made this year exciting for me was back in the 1st of November, Ruger sent me one of the first Marlins that they produced. And I guess that's what we want to talk about.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just spill my guts here. We've been held to secrecy for months. I'm not talking about it. I've got a good relationship with the guys at Marlin, and I'm going to call it Marlin because Ruger is committed to this being a Marlin legacy, not what we, when Remington took on the Marlin brand, there was a debacle for the first few years that we're all aware of.
Yep.
And, that horse is died, and we don't need to probably beat it anymore. But they got those things pretty much fixed by the time they were ending production, by the time the Remington went belly up.
Yes, I worked on that program.
That's right, Hal. You were involved in all of that, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you were right there in the thick of it. So you know exactly what I'm talking about, even more so. the very last guns that were coming out, you guys and the team did a great job pulling that back together. And I think that's evidenced in the fact that when Remington was broken up and sold as different entities, Marlin sold for
that's
30
Lee.
million. There's always that one guy.
Yeah,
Always. It's usually him.
that's why his name's Bad Lee.
Well, Marlin, when it was sold for $30 million. Ruger paid cash for it, so they could see the value that Marlin had become. Where the Remington production, if I understand correctly, sold for $18 million. All of the rest of Remington firearm production, and I think that's super significant in the brand and the recognition and the love that everybody has for Marlin. And I hope that we can honor Ruger's investment in that by supporting them as they're trying to do right by it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm yapping a lot here, and if somebody has something else to burst in with or question, just say, Andy, just be quiet for a minute. But let me tell you about the gun if you're ready.
We're ready. All
Okay.
ears.
Okay. Well, when it came in a little different kind of box than we've had before. Usually the inside of the box is cardboard lined, like you can never get a gun back in one again after you've taken it out. We've all experienced that, and lever guns are particularly tough with their lever to get it all hooked in there. The new box, when I opened it up, I was really surprised to find a really nice foam liner, not a white beadboard type foam, but a gray high density type foam, and the rifle perfectly nested into that. So shipping was beautiful. The outside of the box has a bright red Marlin on the outside of it. It used to be blue, I think.
Yep, blue.
And that's one of the things that Ruger's doing with the Marlin line to kind of designate the new era. We all have questions about how it's marked. That's one of the things that everybody's wondering how's they gonna mark it. First of all, the bullseye in the stock that we look for when we look at a rack of guns. This one is a red outline with a black center.
Yep.
So instead of the white bullseye, we've got with the black bullseye, we've got a red, and that was the first thing, of course, caught my eye. The gun is a stainless GBL. That's the guide gun, big loop with a curved grip. That's a pistol grip gun.
Yep, I have one.
Yeah, and it looks just like what you've seen before. It's a GBL, big loop, stainless, gray laminate stock, and in 4570, of course. And it is beautiful. I can just tell you, I was anxious to see as anybody. And the first thing I do is run my hands over all the wood. The checkering is sharp and crisp and clean. It doesn't look like it was put on with a hot iron like some of those early 2010, 11, 12 guns where the checkering looked like it was melted on the stock. This is nice and sharp and clean. The recoil pad has a Marlin emblem on the back of it. It's soft and generous, so it really soaks up the recoil. The barrel is 19 inches long. It's 19 inches with a threaded muzzle, and the muzzle has a 5/8 by 24 thread for a muzzle brake or a can, if somebody wants to run a suppressor on it. That's kind of the wave of things these days, and they made a beautiful muzzle protector for that isn't knurled or bulky. It just looks like an extension of the barrel with a couple little flats on it to loosen it if it's tight.
Yep.
It's got a Picatinny rail. Remember, the old Marlins had the GBLs had a XS rail on them with an XS sight.
Yep.
This one, Ruger made their own rail. It's about 12 inches long, a little bit crisper than the XS rail, and they put their own proprietary peep sight in the rear of it, ghost ring sight. It's got about a 225 diameter hole. The front is a very thick fiber optic It's a green fiber optic with a white circle dot outline on the front sight.
Andy,
Go ahead and jump in. I've blathered quite a bit here.
When they bought Marlin and switched everything up, are they using all the same equipment, building all these guns? They using is it out of the same factory? They move the factory.
Okay, it's in Mayodan, North Carolina. They moved all that equipment, but I can tell you that what they've been doing for the last year, while everybody's waiting and some, with bated breath, they have been bringing that equipment online, and they've also been tooling up new equipment. So their engineers and the people in the tool rooms, they went in and, I won't say redesigned this gun, but they went back and redid all the engineering to build it. So they're kind of operating off of the old pattern and the new. However, from what I can see, the parts may completely interchange. I can't swear to that, but I've had this gun apart. The machining on the inside is the best I've ever seen on a Marlin.
Nice.
So that's where the big difference is essentially in they've redesigned it, but it's to the layman's eyes, it's going to look the same, but the quality is just a lot better.
They brought the specifications up. Those Marlins we love. Some of those were almost handcrafted, fit works of art by the time they were put together, especially back at New Haven. Guys that knew how to tweak this and tweak that and hold their mouth just right, because some of the machinery they were using was quite old. Ruger is a manufacturing behemoth. They know how to make stuff. They did not, and this is one of the things that people are asking about, they did not use castings to build this gun. It's machined from forgings, and it doesn't have the usual Ruger tracks on it of the lost wax or whatever it is casting that they use. That makes good guns, but they did this the same way Marlin's been doing it for all these years.
Nice. So I know, Andy, when I was working on it, they had to re-engineer the 7 parts and the levers, the 7 different parts that operate that. And they didn't have, because they couldn't use the old machinery because it was wore out. They had to just make one part, like the lever, then the next part, make it fit that. And that's how they engineered it back and got those into those new CNC machines. So Ruger must have used that information, I'm quite sure, because it was already done for them. They might have cleaned it up a little bit or whatever and made the tolerances better, but
I think geometry was real important to them, because Ruger knows they can't launch this and have it not work. And, customer service nightmare sending them out there, and then, it was close, but not quite there. And your friend Eric at Remington is working, of course, at Ruger. You knew that.
Yeah. Yep.
And Eric sat on it pretty tight and said, "No, guys, this has got to be just right before it goes out." And that's why the long time in coming, they've really done an amazing job of bringing this out right.
Yep, great. So you'd mentioned the people were wondering what the stamping was going to be on it. Do they mean the barrel stamp?
Yeah, people are asking. They want to know. I spend a lot of time reading the online questions and blogs, and of course the speculation has been all over the map of what they're going to do. But it's very crisply, looks like laser etching on the barrel. It's not a roll stamp, and it says Marlin, Mayodan, North Carolina, etc. Very, very clean. Ruger is not mentioned anywhere on the gun. There is nothing that says Ruger on the gun.
Yep.
And they kept the little lawyer line, please read instructions before. When Ruger first came out with those instructions, it was more of a paragraph than a line back in the day on the Ruger guns. Make sure you get permission from your grandma and, all those things down the side of it.
Yeah.
It was, we call it the lawyer label. This is one crisp little line, and it's in small print. Please read instructions before using this firearm. And other than that, there's no gaudy warning label on this gun. The stamp, the proof mark, we all know what JM means. JM meant just mammals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, RP, when Remington began producing them, RP stood for reptiles, since it's good for Tyrannosaurus Rex, as we know from Jurassic Park. No, we had the John Marlin stamp and the Remington stamp, and that's always the buzz. Is it a JM? On this one, they're going to be SRs. It's got a very nicely made proof stamp, the Ruger S with an R kind of blended together, and it's tasteful. Very small, very tasteful.
Yep.
So what's the you've got these prototypes out that were used this fall. What's it looking like for launch and for people being able to get their hands on them?
Yeah, that's the real question, and that's why we're late in talking about it, because again, they want to get it just right before the launch. And when this show airs, when this podcast airs, they hope to be actually shipping to distributors. And that's the reason for the late launch. They actually wanted to not say too much before they were ready to go out the door. How long it'll take to get through the distributor pipeline before you'll see them at the local gun shop, I'm sure that they're going to be like hen's teeth at first. And you take the whole country that's been waiting for 1.5 years since the last Marlin was made. There'll be some allocations, I'm sure. I'm speaking out of turn here because I'm not privy to all of that distribution information, but that's what I gather from the conversations I've had.
So do you know, is the first run going to be pretty much the same model and specs of the gun that you have, or is there going to be variations in finish and that sort of thing?
I think this is going to be the first one that's released. If they do something different than that, I don't know about it. This though is a production gun. That's one of the things. 1.5 months, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it was, I was talking with them, and they said, we want to send out 6 of these to people who are gun people with a mechanical aptitude, who also have an eye for the ergonomics and durability, sustainability, what the market's going to be, and people that really have a love for levers. And so 6 of these guns that were basically production guns, they weren't hand-tuned. They went out to some evaluators. They called it a jury. And I've got the privilege of being one of those. I was quite honored by that. So that's how this gun came to me. Came in perfect time. Our whitetail rut was just about to go into the swing. And I can tell you that hunting with this gun, I carried it around, and like we said on the last time I was on your podcast, there's something about a lever gun when you're in the woods with it, makes you want to take pictures of it. I think I said I've got a lot of crotch pictures from, you guys in the woods. You got your gun laying across your lap, and you're taking a picture of it and send it to me or posted it online. This gun was like that, and it felt like hunting with an old friend. It did not feel different. It doesn't, when you have it in the hand, it doesn't feel awkward it just feels like a Marlin has always felt.
Yeah, and you say it has the loop lever on it? It
does. It has the guide gun big loop. I can probably get in trouble for saying this, but I'm not a big loop fan. It's a marketing thing, in my opinion. There's all the talk about big hands and big gloves. You guys live in as cold a country as I do. Man, if I have to have gloves on that are that bulky, I can't trigger. I can't hit the trigger very well anyway. Maybe it's different for you guys, but I wear heavy gloves that I need to, and then I can get 3 fingers in a lever, any lever, and I've got extra large hands.
Wait a minute, Andy. Wait a minute. You don't wear the Big Woods Bucks wool gloves?
I don't have a pair of Big Woods Bucks wool gloves.
Oh,
we're gonna have to get on that.
We'll send you some.
Jesus, bro.
Now, I didn't know there was any Big Woods Bucks wool gloves, but I can tell you this: my wife Sheila is sitting next to me, and she says times two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said it, her eyes lit up, and I could see that. I could see that look on her face of, hey.
I guess we'll have to get Chris to put a couple pairs in when he makes another order.
Yeah.
In the right conditions, half the glove will be on the gun by the end of the day.
Yeah.
You mean stuck to it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But they work
Yeah.
really well. So, yeah, I'm the same way as you, Andy, where I'm not a huge fan of the big loop myself, but I don't really have much experience with it. I've just always thought it was kind of excessive, but without using them, it's hard to really say whether I really like it or not. But, I guess that's one of those things that's just personal preference.
It is. There's a lot of that. And, it looks cool, and a slightly larger loop might be good. When it gets real big, the amount of room that your hand actually has to move to work a lever becomes significant. You'll never see a cowboy action shooter shooting a big loop, but it works. And this gun is, and also you never see a big loop on any. You go through the Cody Firearms Museum, and anything other than a movie gun, it wasn't like the cowboys needed a big loop. They just didn't. But anyway, this gun is what I call the Jurassic Park Wind River gun. It was in the movies. They know it'll throw a guy all the way through the backside of a trailer house if you shoot him with it. It'll kill T-Rex if you need to, or take down a pterodactyl. And they are honest about it at Ruger that, yeah, this gun's good in the woods. I used it. I proved it. But it's got a really shiny receiver finish that for hunting is a little too reflective for my taste. But it works. I mean, you still do it. The barrel is beautifully, I don't want to use the word brush finished, but it's got a really nice soft finish to it. They nailed that. Got it just perfect. The lever and the receiver almost look chrome on this gun.
Yeah, the last ones they had, like the one I got's the same way, but they're going to, I'm sure they're going to come out with a blued version. They're going to expand on that. I guess they picked one to start with, but I'm sure they'll go to the blued versions, and then they'll bring out the models with the small level loops and all of that.
I think you're absolutely right. Is that Hal? Was that you, Hal?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hal, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, they went for their very most popular, what they knew they couldn't keep in stock gun first.
Right.
And that GBL was a marketing success. So that would be, of course, a natural. My understanding is they'll bring that out, then they'll do some variations on the 1895. Of course, then it's a straight transition into the 336 and the 1894. They're really anxious to get some pistol calibers out there.
Yep. I would think it wouldn't take them long to get these other ones out because, like we know, at the end of it, the quality was there. So I don't know how much fixing they really need to do. If they got the machinery, it's just a matter of fine-tuning some things. It shouldn't be a long time to get each model out, I wouldn't think.
I think that there was a little, after seeing what happened with Remington's initial launch, caution was completely in place. So every minute detail, they were going over and over and over. And I think, yes, once they have these things all in place, as you say, they should be able to keep bringing them. And I just got to say, I'm super happy with it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, Remington, they did their big launch of the 870s, and apparently they didn't care about the quality control as much from the things that I've seen with the fit and finish and the way that the stocks bolt up to the receiver and everything just was not clean. It's nice to see that Ruger took the time and worked hard to do it right with the Marlin guns.
It's when I first got the gun and I looked it over, I wrote my notes. I was writing notes as I went, and you can see the fit of the wood to the metal is, it's not a Dakota custom shop gun. And at first I thought, well, maybe that could have been a little tighter. But I wrote in my notes, but I'm going to wait and see how I feel about this later because, your initial impression is very picky, and that's what they wanted us to do. They wanted us to be brutally honest in our assessment. They said, if it sucks, tell us it sucks. Don't sugarcoat it. But the more I used it and looked at it, it's as good as any of my JM stamped New Haven guns that were made with the laminated stocks. The laminated stocks are a little harder to get. The wood's a little more brittle, and the way they put them together, it's a little harder to get that perfect fit, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
I mean, it's still pretty darn good. I mean, I look at it, and it's not like you can see light through it or anything like some of those early guns that Remington did. This is, it's pretty darn good. You're going to have to be really fussy about it and not understand production guns versus custom guns to find a lot of fault with this one I have.
So that their plan would be to have basically all the same calibers that used to come in?
I think so. Obviously they're going to focus on what's going to really sell first, and that 4570 has been king. When they switch over to 3030, that's going to, they're going to do a 444 because the Marlin name on it. I don't know if they're going to bring back the 338 and the 308 Express, the MXLR, those two proprietary cartridges, which were excellent cartridges, but they are talking about it. 35 rem, I think, will always be on the table.
450?
I don't know about the 450. I don't know about that. Yeah. Well, I don't know about 35 rem. Let me be honest. Again, I know it's talked about favorably, and it's not no, we'll never do that. So I think those things are, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think, my limited knowledge without too much speculation, though I think you'll be seeing them, but it'll be down the road a ways.
Yeah. So do you get to keep the gun?
I asked him, I said, well, I want to buy this. And Eric says, well, they'll see what we can work out. My son feels like if you've killed something with a gun, you should get to keep it.
I agree. Yeah, I'm right with him.
And my wife, again, Sheila's sitting here next to me, and she's pointing and going, yep, that's...
Yeah.
I made the mistake of loaning her my 26 Nosler for some open country hunting one time, and it's I have to pry it from her fingers once in a while now.
Yeah, well, it's hers now.
She says, see?
Yeah. So things are going good there at the factory, cranking out sights?
We are, and you guys are keeping us busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've lit a fire under the 760, 7600 sight market.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
People like quality.
Yeah, so give up your hunting spot.
Oh, now he's going to talk?
I've been GPS and putting GPS points on all the Hal's hunting spots over in the woods on the other side of the mountain from us. So
for those that don't know, Andy's calling us from Montana.
Where we hunted this year was pretty tough as far as the numbers of larger bucks. It's been public hunted hard, and I'm all for public hunting. It's been hunted hard. It's one of the little niche places not too far from the more populated area where we live. I mean, it's not populated, but it's one of the easiest places to get to. So it got hit pretty hard for the last 50 years. And the wolves moved in. The wolves ate us out of house and home. I actually was tracking a buck one morning, and I may have told you this before, but I was tracking a buck one morning, and it had snowed 3 hours before, so I was hot on him. And coming down a ridge into a skid trail through some dense timber, a wolf came in from one side, a wolf came in from the other side, and about 200 yards further down the track, he was completely disassembled, just his head and rack and hide and twisted up bones. They had completely devoured him before I found him.
No kidding.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, there was 5 of them. I tracked them then from there, the wolves, because we can hunt wolves. I tracked them from where they killed him, and they went into the housing develop area where our cabin is, about 3 miles away. They went right down into where all the houses were. So,
what's your limit on the wolves? How many can you shoot?
I think it's 5 right now. I could be wrong, but I think it's 5.
Do you have to buy special tags, or does it just come with your hunting license?
No, you have to buy a tag.
Yeah. You get any this year?
I did not. My son shot 3 wolves. Not this year yet. He's been pretty busy, but he's a caller. He called in a pack of them last year while they were high country mule deer hunting above timberline. They heard him howl, he and his buddy. It was like 0 degrees and knee-deep snow, and they heard him howling, and they're way up high on top of the mountain. So they set up, and Danny started calling, and he shot one at 18 yards and another one at 80 as they were trying to get away.
Was they like using a dying rabbit call or a fawn call or something?
He did. He called him with a rabbit call.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, gosh.
You got something like wolves coming in.
Like 7 of them, I think he called in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good you're allowed to shoot them.
If we don't, we won't have any deer left or any elk or moose. So the predator control became real important after they realized the mistake they made in the reintroduction.
Right. And then I heard Colorado voted to introduce them there, which is real sad. Huh?
It's the closer you get to those populations, the more excited they get about them.
Say it, Andy. Say it.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that I think they should send a bunch of them to L.A. and Denver and Washington, D.C. and New York and turn them loose.
Put them out in the woods with no gun. Let them go pet the wolves.
Oh, that could be that, too.
Yeah, go pet one. You want it so bad. Pet it. I dare you. If they could see what they did to a deer, everybody wants to watch Bambi and they don't want us to kill it. But if they could see what a wolf or a coyote does to a deer, they'd be on TV tomorrow trying to eradicate all of them,
And they don't eat just the weak and the young.
No.
They're a target of opportunity, whatever, and sometimes they kill several and leave some. They don't eat everything they kill.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a political football, though, as you guys know, and that's part of what we're up against in our. Anytime wildlife measures can be put on a ballot, it leaves it up to an uneducated public to make a decision that is going to be based on emotions rather than fact.
Right. Oh, yeah. We've been through that in Maine with a bear a couple of times, trying to stop the bear hunting,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a matter of time before the wolf situation comes up.
I hope so. I'd love to kill them things. I've shot.
I didn't quite mean that, but
I've shot at or killed everyone I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna live. No, it's
Same.
foolishness.
Yeah,
Foolishness.
Same way with the coyotes.
Yeah.
You've probably heard us talking before, Andy, about taking care of our coyotes with the hounds out here, which it's a really fun sport, but it's really helped tremendously our deer herd up north, So
The coyotes are amazing predators. They kill more of those fawns than anyone realizes, and their pursuit is relentless. I used to watch them from my office window. You'd see I had an office that overlooked a little valley, and you'd see a doe out there, and she'd have a couple fawns, and the coyotes would come in and just surround her and kind of nipping at her, and she'd go to chase one of them, and they'd slip in and take a fawn. And
most people don't realize the bears and bobcats too. I mean, it's a tough world for a whitetail fawn.
Oh yeah.
Yes, everything wants to eat them. Our mountain lions, they say they kill a deer a week, and that's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But predators are Yeah, I think there's a place for them, and obviously, but the numbers got out of control, and they're indiscriminate. Where as hunters, of course, we do it into a sustainable management of the herd that actually increases the numbers. So that's the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you just said was if we kill more predators, then we get more tags.
I like it.
We call that Lee speak.
Yep.
The deer I shot this year was about 3 years old. He wasn't real old. He had fairly heavy horn for his age and his size. He's never going to be a monster. We saw him in the crunchy snow. We could see his body, but we couldn't see all of his rack, just the dark tip of a horn. So we were trying to get on him so we could see him a little better, and he slipped away from us in the heavy trees, in the timber. We tracked him around for a couple days, found him about 200 yards from where we saw him the first time, maybe less than that, and shot him with the new rifle.
How many yards?
35.
Up close and personal.
Nice.
He was 300 grain Remington hollow point. So anyway, it was just a good. Yeah, it's sufficient. Sheila and I pulled him up out of there to the truck, and it was like I say, it wasn't a huge buck, but I really wanted to get one with the first Marlin made by Ruger. And I don't know how many people might have shot a deer before I did with one, and I don't know of anyone, but I may have been the first, and if I was, then I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
As you should be. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Nice.
I'll send you guys some pictures that you can, like I say, he's not a real big buck, but I'll send you some cool pictures of the gun and the deer with the gun on it. Sheila took a great picture that shows a lot of respect for the animal. Just, kind of the tips of the horns and the rifle in the distance, kind of like second of it. That's pretty cool. I'll send them to you. You can post them up.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can just, if you want, just text them right to my number, Andy, and I can use them from there.
Which one of you is that?
This is Joe.
Okay, Joe, I'll do that.
Yeah,
it's your accents, guys.
Yeah.
I always have a hard time, because you all have such different accents.
Our accent.
Eh?
Yeah.
We don't have any accent.
No.
What are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, so Joe's the number you're talking on now anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Joe, I'll send those to you.
Perfect.
Yep. Well,
I did use our Skinner 1-6 variable optic scope on my gun. I just wanted to, of course, use our product. And since the gun came with Ruger sights on it, this was a way for me to add our product to the gun when I used it in the field without changing anything on their gun. Just for the record, Skinner sights will have complete replacements for the sights that are on here. If somebody wants to take that rail off the top, we'll have our standard ghost ring and peep sight with, we make them in solid stainless, so it'll match the gun. We also make them in blued steel, and as you guys know, because you're using them, and in our black gold. But we will have a complete replacement set of sights. Matter of fact, my gun that they sent me has my sights on it now that I'm shooting. But I used our Skinner scope when I shot my buck, just for the record.
yep. People can get Skinner scopes from you too.
Yep.
Oh.
I want
it's been
one.
real successful.
I didn't
one.
realize there was a Skinner scope.
Yeah, that's
Well,
another new announcement.
I'll make sure that you guys are taken care of. It's not the world's highest end cost wise. We sell a real reasonable package for the lever gun. It's like $279. You get the 1-6 variable optic, has a lit dot 1 minute in the center of the crosshair reticle. Crisp, really crisp. It's a true 1 power. So when you have it dialed all the way down, it's like eyes wide open. It's sharp at 6 power. It's sized. It's sized for the lever gun, but we sell it for $279 on our website with a base and a set of rings for the Marlin and the Henry lever guns.
Yep. Now, would you say it was a 1 to 6?
It is. It's a 1 to 6. I'll make sure you guys have some to goof off with.
Excellent. What's the objective on it, Andy?
The objective is a 24. It's a 30 millimeter tube for brightness, so we have a 24 millimeter objective. And I'm hoping to get out and be with you guys at a show, a hunting show in Maine, the 1st of April.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'll be a good
sportsman show. Good deal.
Yeah, that's a real exciting. I always have something I want to look forward to. Is what's next, and that's one of the things that's high on my list.
Yeah, you'll have fun there.
Yeah, Maine's beautiful in April too. That's when everyone comes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's mud everywhere, and it's perfect.
Snow's brown.
Yeah, the snow's brown.
Well, Sheila was thinking maybe, like late September or mid-September would be a nice time to visit Maine, but
it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, you guys are going to have to put in for the moose lottery then, because that's when that is.
Well, you got her attention now.
Yeah. Just get a hold of us. We'll tell you how to apply for that. You can start applying usually like mid-January, and you got to have the application in by May, and then they draw them in June.
Well, we hate to take away from any of the resident hunters, with an out-of-state tag, but
yeah, you don't. You draw in an out-of-state pool. 10% of the tags go to non-residents, so you just draw against other non-residents. Okay,
well, that'd be awesome. We'll put Sheila's name in. We'll put both our names in, but I really hope she would draw if either of us drew one.
Yeah, you can. You can both be on. You can have a sub-permittee, so you can put each other down on your license, and either one can shoot the moose.
Oh, she's the real deal. She shot some cool stuff. She got her buck a week after I got mine.
Yep,
nice.
In the woods up there. So
was it 26 Nosler? You said
not that one. She shot that one with a different gun that she uses for close range. She has a 6.5 man bun. She calls it.
Man bun.
And she just whispered to me, she says, "Why did you say that?"
Oh, yeah. You're in good company, Sheila.
Yeah.
Let it all out.
Yeah,
this is a private conversation. No one else listens to this.
And Joe has a man bun.
Well, she shoots it because, she shoots it well, and it was a good practicing gun. But once she realized that it could be, as she says, worser, she found out about the 26 Nosler. She's all about that. So,
nice.
But for moose, what would you take, Dave? If you got a moose tag, what would you take? I just put her on the spot.
My 300 Win Mag big enough?
She asked if her 300 Win Mag would be big enough.
Oh yeah. or that Marlin SGBL be good too.
There you go. She shot a wild bull in Hawaii with a Skinner Bush Pilot 4570.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was
Sheila was right into it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good deal.
Well, guys, I really appreciate the time. I'm excited about our relationship with Big Woods Bucks. I can't tell you how much fun that's been for the last several months. Yeah. And the camaraderie, as we know here, is it's a chemistry that I think will endure.
Yeah, same here.
Good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So enjoy the rest of your day. We got a few things to cover on this podcast, and then also have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and I guess we'll see you in April.
Merry Christmas to all of you as well, and with just the best wishes to your families.
Yep, thanks.
And all your listeners. And all your listeners.
And don't forget to bring Sheila to the Sportsman Show, too.
Well,
I'll be there.
Nice. Sounds like Andy doesn't have a choice in whether she's coming or not.
Hook me up with a pair of those gloves.
All right.
Yeah.
I was going to ship you some, but we'll hold them for you till you come in April. That way you come.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
same to you. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Wow. All right. That was nice of them to make that announcement on the Big Woods Bucks podcast, I guess. Guess we feel a little honored about that. So all you Marlin people out there, that's what you got to look forward to. And I'm sure these other models are going to come out fairly rapidly. I mean, I'm sure there won't be one every month, but I bet you within the next year they're going to have pretty good selection on the market again, I would think.
Yeah, it's going to be nice when all that gets straightened out. You know, I read these anytime something pops up from Remington. The number one question, of course, is about the pump rifles, and
Yeah.
everyone wants to know. I always wonder if, you know, obviously Remington is aware of it and hears it and everything, but, you know, if it makes a difference when a small group like that, it keeps on showing interest, or if they just look at big picture stuff and that's it. And
No, I think the new owners, I can tell you from working there that they were always chasing. It was like a numbers game, and they were always chasing. We called it the race to the bottom. You know, the cheap guns. You know, coming out with they wanted to compete in the cheap gun market, that was the biggest mistake, I feel. Instead of just saying we're a Remington, we're not going to be a cheap gun, and make the quality guns and get the money for them. They went the wrong direction. They were trying to be the be all for everybody, and you can't do that. You know, you gotta pick your market that you want. If you want the quality gun with the looks and shooting and all of that, you just stay there. Don't try to make a cheap gun just to satisfy a portion of the market. You know,
right,
because you're just divvying that up with everybody else. You're not taking that market. You're just getting a little chunk of it, you know.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I think when the new owners of Remington announced, you know, they were going to open a plant in Georgia and employ 800 people, like they're serious about doing things with it now.
Yeah.
And part of that, I think, is they'll come back. The 7600 will come back. They're talking about it, so I'm sure it will. When, we don't know, but I'm sure it'll come back. So,
Yeah, and also, you were going to forget again.
no, I wasn't. I told you we had some other things to talk about.
Oh, is that what it was?
So, last podcast we were talking about the the team members that had shot bucks up to that point or whatever, and I think we hadn't gone through the second muzzleloader season, like call it the Southern or Central Maine muzzleloader season, but we made a big mistake and we forgot.
Big mistake.
Real big mistake, and us guys got called out on it. So Candace, the only gal on the team, shot a beautiful buck, and we forgot to mention her. So you know how that goes. We got called out, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. We should have wrote a list down so we'd have had it, and we just kind of.
She hunted her ass off and killed a beautiful buck, and
we
forgot about her.
We forgot about her, but yeah. So
we don't forget about her when it's time to eat, do we? Because she takes care of us, and she doesn't forget about us. So
yeah. So, anyways, congratulations to Candace on her nice buck, and sorry we forgot about you.
yeah.
So I'm sitting here, and both of these guys, every time they say Candace, they rub their belly. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking about. I just told her today I texted her and told her the deer clinics are full because she cooks for my deer clinics, and so that's what I was thinking about. We have some good food. She's always got hors d'oeuvres for the guys when we come in the end of the day.
It's the best, man. Moose Camp is.
What do you call it?
I'm looking forward to Moose Camp next year already.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, anyways, what else we got going on this week?
I think that's it for this week. Rick's going to be here shortly. I got to get Lee's address so we can get him here to the house.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more deer stories. That'll be on the next podcast.
We'll get some deer stories with Rick, and then we may be headed out, do a little muzzle loading in Mass on.
Yep. There
Sunday,
you go again. There you go again.
Somewhere in Mass. And well, maybe the Catskills in New York. Who knows?
Well, I can tell you where I went this year. You want to know where I went?
Quill Hill?
No.
No.
I went to Vermont.
You did?
Yep. Snuck over there for a couple days.
Uh-huh. And
I don't know why those guys are running around trying to kill our town deer, because there's a bunch of deer over there and a bunch of big deer.
Why don't you talk about where you were? Why don't you blow up some of their spots?
No. Yeah, I was over in Essex, right there behind the Walmart. You know, where we do our show.
Yeah.
Cut one right there, just right by that yellow car.
Yeah.
Yep. He's rubbing on a mirror.
And did you have snow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I get up one morning and said, you know what? I've been this Brad Jarvis, a friend of mine over there, Facebook friend, he kept trying to get me to go over, so I didn't want to say too much, and so I just got up one morning and sent her over, and I liked it, so I went back. It's only an hour, and I think it took me like an hour and 40 minutes from the house here.
Oh, yeah.
Good ride.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Nope. So I think I'm going to hit that a little bit harder, because for all my Vermont friends out there, I want nothing more than to kill one of your big bucks. But then I got another story before we wrap it up. Last day of muzzleloader, probably my best day in the woods. I see one big buck, got him out of bed. I took a buck track right out of the truck. 2 big bucks crossed the road, so me and my friend John grabbed one apiece. He got muffed up on his, and it was raining pretty good. I took mine. I wasn't 10 minutes from the truck, and I called him on the radio, and I said, hey, are you anyways near the end of that road? And he says, no, but I can be. I said, I just cut a track that's 5 minutes old. It's like still slushy. So run down the end of that road, because he's just parallel, and the road was probably a mile long. So he beats feet down there, and I jumped the buck not 150 yards from where I hollered to him on the radio. Got him up out of bed. He runs. The buck is so tired, he goes like 100 yards running, stop, checks his backtrack. And I just stopped what I was doing and started eating a sandwich, because I figure I got a good track ahead of me, so I'll get fueled up. It's 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So eat my sandwich. I take off on the buck track, and 100-yard run, stop, checked his backtrack, and I stopped, and I'm like, oh, shit. He starts meandering in and out of this tote road, into the woods, back into the tote road, 50 yards down the tote road, into the woods, back into the tote road. I'm like, I'm going to kill him. So I look down, and I can see him standing back, too, behind a blowdown in the tote road. But I can't see him well enough to send anything down there. And he was looking back over his shoulder right at me and stood there long enough. If I had a rifle, definitely would have sent it. But I was like, if he just turns his head and takes 2 steps and gets away from that tree, I feel pretty good. And with the open sight on that muzzleloader, I have a hard time over 100 yards of my eyes. So he saw me, he takes off. All right, so I waited a few minutes, not 15, but I go again. So this time he runs 300 yards, and he starts dubbing around again. I'm like, I'm going to kill you. So I stay right on him as I go as hard as I can go. He goes straight up this ridge. He dubs around, gets into some green growth. Like he wants to lay down, but he doesn't. And I had just spent an hour in that green growth, one step, going 100 yards. And I'm like, I can't believe he's not in here. Comes out of the green growth after he did all this zigging and zagging like he wanted to lay down. Now, mind you, he hadn't been in his first bed 15 minutes. He couldn't have been. So he goes across this hardwood ridge right into this other green growth, and he's headed for the truck. He's headed back to where I cut his track that morning. So he goes into this green growth, and he starts zigzagging around, and I know he's got to be right there. So he steps through this wicked thick spot, and I stuck my face in there, and I'm like, I'm not going through that. So I back up like 6 steps, and I make a 20-yard loop around, and it was my mistake. I dropped right in on top of him, and he busted me before I busted him. And if I'd have followed his track through that thick spot, there was a 50-yard aisleway through that green growth, and he was laying in the end of it under a tree. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So I bust him, and I see him go. I couldn't see his antlers, but he was coal black. He was black, real dark, and could have been all the rain that day or whatever, but he was just dark. So he heads for the truck. So I get out my Onyx, and I look. He's 6 miles, 0.6 of a mile from the truck. So I call my friend, and we got service, like one bar, and he answers, yeah. I said, are you anywhere near that truck? And he says, yeah, I'm sitting in it with the heat on. I'm like, dude, get out of that truck and go find that buck track where I cut this morning and stand there, because he's going to cross that road. So I take the buck track. I don't give him any time. I get off the phone. I take the buck track, another 200-yard run maybe, and he starts walking again. But he's walking pretty good. He's got quite a stride on him. Now he's only been in that bed maybe. He hasn't been down all day, an hour. So, and he's just like dragging his feet. So I start running on this buck track because I think I'm going to catch him. And then we get into this cutoff, and I'm like, he's got to be right here. So I am going as fast as I can. I almost get to the road, and I'm like, where the hell is John? Like, I told him to get to the road, you know. Well, what he had done was, there's a little gut just on the other side of the road, and he had posted up there. Well, I just could see that road, and I hear boom. And I'm like, sweet, that thing is dead. I can't wait to see it. So I get to the road. I make a little down around the corner and up into the woods there, 75 yards. And I'm like, did you get him? And he's like, I didn't draw any blood. He's going to kill me for telling the story. But so I'm like, what do you mean you didn't get any blood?
Did that ever hold you back?
Yeah. And I'm looking at where he was standing and where we're standing. And it's like 75 yards. And there ain't a raindrop between them. And I'm like, what do you mean you missed? And he goes, I missed. And I'm like, well, where was he standing when you shot? And he goes, over there. And I'm like, he was walking towards this opening and you shot through the woods over there? And he's like, yeah, I saw him and I wanted to get a shot off. I'm like, so wait a minute. You shot over there, and then he walked over here and stood, and then he made a little circle like he's checking his backtrack. And he stood, and then he takes 2 jumps off and walks up this hill. And he says, do you know what plastic sounds like on a metal gun? Like, he says, I was shaking so bad trying to reload that gun, I couldn't get that thing reloaded. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So here I am. Now it's after 2 o'clock, and my legs are cooked. And I'm like, all right, well, he didn't have a giant track on him. I figured 175, 180, right? Didn't have a giant track on him. So I said, well, that's all right. I don't think he's that big of a deer anyways. I don't think he's 200 pounds. And we're soaked and I'm spent. And he looks at me with these big eyes. And I'm like, what? And he goes, that's a big deer. I'm like, well, it can't be 200 pounds. He goes, oh, I don't know. And it's dark. It's like black. And I'm like, all right, well, how big were the horns? And he goes, oh, about that wide and about that tall. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That thing's 20 inches wide and a foot tall. And he goes, easily. I'm like, oh. So I take that buck track, and we go about 400 yards straight uphill. And I get to the top of that hill, and that buck is standing on top of that ridge with just his head sticking out where I could see it. And he's looking down over that ridge waiting for my hat. And as soon as he saw me and I saw him, he was gone, and he never stopped. But that was a good day. But I went to a spot I had never been, and there was 4 different buck tracks in there that day, all that anybody would have shot. And not another hunter. Nowhere's around.
Where was that?
Yeah, that was Livermore Falls. Down to Dick's Taxidermy. Anyways, that's my story. John will get a
that is a nice thing about muzzleloader. You don't see anyone. Muzzleloader season is great.
Right? I had checked that spot out early season because somebody said to me that they were in there doing some work and that they had seen some nice buck signs. So a couple of times I had to run out of town, and I'm like, well, I'm down here. I might as well just make a loop in. It's like 1.5 miles back in. And just walking in there, and buck tracks, not one tire track, not one man track, nothing. I'm like, that's odd. So I actually found the landowner and called and asked permission to hunt it because I was like, it's a big piece, but I'm like, I wonder why nobody's in here. Is this posted or is it not posted? So nope, talked to the landowner. He's like, yeah, go ahead, hunt it. So
nice.
All right.
All right. Well, it's time to wrap it up. So everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you don't hear from us before then, you might. I don't know what the schedule is here, but I think this one's going on Monday.
Yeah.
And, then it'll be right after Christmas for the next one. But so Merry Christmas. Hope you get plenty of guns and ammo for Christmas. And
Yeah, because there's so much available.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Until then, good luck on the trail.
Hey, Hal here. Hey, one thing I realized as I was getting older is when I was younger, I never really planned for retirement. And so my client for the last couple of years, Jerry Smith, had been talking to me about it a little bit. And I don't know when I'm going to retire, but I definitely got to get ready for it. But Jerry owns a company called the Northern Way Wealth Management. And he's got a program he calls the Northern Way Retirement GPS. And it's a way you can plan to get your finances in order and live your best life, which means time in the woods to track down some big bucks. Because, the problem is not getting enough time in the woods for most people. And, whether it's family or other hobbies or, just financial obligations, it cuts into your hunting time. So Jerry has partnered with Dave Ramsey in his Smart Vest program where he helps folks in his process. And Jerry has partnered with us at Big Woods Bucks to offer you your very own no cost or obligation and Northern Way Retirement GPS. Just call or shoot Jerry a text at 715-551-4181 and mention the promo code BWB. Jerry's going to help you get some retirement time and some more income so you can hunt some more. Good luck on the trail.
Investment advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Northern Way Wealth Management, Retirement Wealth Advisors, and Dave Ramsey are not affiliated.
Hi everyone, Big Woods team member Mark Sheeran here. Many of you know that I have a passion for helping people solve their addictions permanently. As a matter of fact, me and my team have spent the last 31 years helping more than 20,000 people move on from their addictions. So know this, if you or someone you love want to move on from an addiction for good, and you don't want to be stuck in a rehab or 12-step meetings or endless therapies, then you might want to learn about the Freedom Model and the St. Jude Retreat. To learn more, give us a call at 888-424-2626. All calls are confidential. Here's that number again, 888-424-2626, or go to soberforever.net for more information. I really look forward to helping you end your addictions for good. Here's that number one last time, 888-424-2626. Take care.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Marlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And, of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hey, Hal here. Just want to take a minute to talk about the hunting club. And you can join by going right online at bigwoodsbucks.com. But anyways, I've got all my information is going in there, and it's a place where you can get together and look at my films, tips, writings, and all of that. And the best part is forums for you to communicate with, the rest of the club members, talk about Big Wood stuff and all of that. So anyways, $36 a year, cheaper than getting a Starbucks once a day. So join up and hope you see you on there. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.